Students, welcome to your science class. Students, today we are going to discuss about lesson 4 of our block 27, which is prevention of diseases. So if we do a quick recap of what we have learned yesterday, we were learning about first aid. We learned about the different types of stings, burns, and we also discussed about the levels of burns. In today's class, we are going to move further with our discussion, and we are going to focus more towards the diseases and its definitions. So we'll be needing few resources for that. The few resources which we need would be the same thing as we need it daily, which is the notebook, exceed book, as well as the content book. So let's start with our topic. The keywords which I will be using in our class would be immunization, vaccination, and immunity. So immunization, vaccination, and immunity, all of these three words, if you particularly focus on, they look very much similar. They might seem that they are related to each other, but the fact is that they are different when it comes to its usage. So we'll try to discuss about this in detail in the upcoming slides. So what is the aim of our class? The aim of our class is that we will be able to suggest ways of preventing some diseases. So we are going to look at ways in which we can prevent these diseases. Now, what are non-communicable diseases? So let's start with our very basic question. Now, if we do a quick recap, and if you remember, we discussed about non-communicable disease being disease that do not spread from one person to another, right? Now, if there we also discussed about the examples of that, which was the cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, and cancer. Right, so these are considered or classified as non-communicable disease. Even if you touch the person suffering from cancer, the person who's touching the patient will not get infected because of that. So that is considered as a non-communicable disease. Then we discussed about the communicable disease. In communicable disease, we discussed about how through air, water, and food this transmission happens, and one infected person can infect the other person. How do communicable disease spread? Now, we know that once we come in contact with the infected person or a surface or an object, we get infected. So air, water, and food remains the prime source of transmission. So here you can see air, food, and water, and there are other examples being also given, which is the direct contact. Now, why is first aid important? Now, first aid is as we discussed yesterday, is the first action that can be taken for the victim who has undergone or who has faced a medical situation. It can be a wound, it can be a cut, it can be a burn, right? So what first aid does is first aid provides an effective way to reduce the pain or discomfort of the patient. So ultimately what it does, it saves life, right? So what should we so what first aid would you give in case of a burn? So we discussed this already. So what would you do? Would you wash it with plenty of water? Would you apply soap to it? So in case of burn, the first thing you should do is you should put the burnt area under the cold water. It's only when the animal bite situation we use soap and water to clean the wound, and then we apply the antiseptic ointment. So here in this picture, it gives you a brief idea as to how the skin burns can be treated. So how can we prevent communicable disease? Is there any ways we discussed in which we can prevent the communicable disease? Yes, we can. So what we have to do is we have to protect ourselves from the disease causing germs. And how can you do that? We can do this by washing our hand, especially before eating food and after eating food, after toilet. We can wash our hands, and if we have gone to public places when we go home, it's advisable to wash your hands with soap and water, right? So that pretty much disinfects the hand to a larger extent. Before eating food is very important because that's where the inside body comes in contact with the hand. So through saliva, if there is any germs or bacteria, that might get transmitted to our mouth, and from our mouth it can reach our body. By drinking clean water is very important. Most of us have water filters and ROs at home, but it's normally when we are out in public places or out of home, we need to ensure that we drink clean water, and we should cover our mouth and nose when we are in dirty places or when we cough and sneeze, right? And last and most important point is that we should keep our surrounding clean. Do you keep your surrounding clean? Is the drain in your area clogged? Is your locality doesn't lack any kind of dustbin or waste collection mechanism? Then there are high chances that there will be a lot of germs and bacteria available, and people living in those areas may not be healthy. How can we prevent non-communicable disease? Now that was the communicable disease. What about non-communicable disease? Now non-communicable diseases requires a healthy lifestyle. Now this healthy lifestyle requires a balanced diet, exercise, and taking proper rest. Now it is also advisable these days that we should periodically go for medical checkups, and we should follow a healthy lifestyle, that is waking up early in the morning, eating our meals on time, consuming a lot of fruits and salads, consuming a lot of water, avoiding eating fried foods, unhealthy foods and junk foods, and sleeping on time. So if you follow these things, then there are great chances that you would be protecting yourself from the non-communicable diseases. Now, what is immunization? Immunization is the process by which a person's immune system is made more resistant against the infectious disease. Now, this is done by administrating a vaccine. So, immunization is improving the immune system of the body, right? So, that is called as the immunization. Here you have we have two types of immunization. One is the passive immunization, and the second is the active immunization. Next question is, what is the difference between natural and acquired immunity? Natural immunity is the immunity of the body, right? That is from the time of birth and what kind of lifestyle you lead. That's how your immunity is maintained. Whereas acquired immunity is what is attained after vaccination. So after vaccination, what you have gained is called as the acquired immunity. So there are two types of immunity: natural immunity and acquired immunity. Now let's come to the most important question. What is vaccination? You would have seen people taking vaccination against the coronavirus. What is this vaccination? Now, vaccination is the process of injecting a fluid inside a body. You would have seen they have a liquid which is through an injection, through a syringe, it is injected in our body, and that contains weakened or dead pathogens, right? So our body may contains weakened or dead pathogens. So when these microorganisms enters our body, the immune system produces antibodies against the disease causing microorganism, and ultimately what it does is it guards our body. So when we talk about this, we also get the information about the WBC, the white blood cells, which we have learnt in our earlier blocks. Now, how does it help to prevent diseases? So it helps by producing antibodies against in our body that guards and protects our body. Now, what are some diseases that can be prevented through vaccination? Now, diseases like smallpox, which is very common in our area, especially in our town, diseases like smallpox, this can be eradicated through vaccination. Other diseases like typhoid, hepatitis, measles, polio, we have through vaccination, we have reduced the case of polio to a very large extent, but we are still way back when it comes to typhoid, hepatitis and measles. So these are the three things where we are still lagging behind, and we need to, as a country, we need to proceed further to ensure these diseases are also under control. Now here comes the question of the day: which among these cannot be prevented by vaccination? So there are few diseases. You will have to tell me which disease cannot be prevented by vaccination. So our homework, if there is any question answers which you were not able to answer yesterday, you can do it today. So some topics which was left, you can do it today. You will have to complete your content book, page number 62, which is the My Learning chart. And once again, I'm asking you to complete all your pending work. We are going to check your books and copies once the school reopens. Please complete all your pending work and keep your book up to date, because we are heading towards the final examination now. So students, just in case if you have any doubts or question related to today's class, you can reach me through the comment section. So thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.